back to my YouTube channel. My name is Anu Joshi. I'm a real estate broker based in Toronto. On the channel today, we have Chucks Okafor, a real estate advisor from Calgary. Welcome, Chucks.
Thank you, Anu. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Now, Chucks, how's the real estate market been in Calgary so far with COVID and everything?
The market has been interesting. We were super quiet once the COVID hit. I mean, I think we went down 63% in transactions,
Mm-hmm.
and we're back up, way up now. And we're actually been in multiples, which is kind of rare for the Calgary market.
Right.
I know in Toronto and Vancouver and Montreal, that's kind of a norm, not
Yeah.
necessarily up here. I want to say we still have a lot of inventory, but there's been a lot of trades,
Okay.
and which is a good sign. And I
Right.
think a lot of people were on the sideline and, during COVID, and they're just back in the game, taking advantage of the low mortgage rates and just back in the game.
Right.
So there's a lot of trades happening.
Yeah, the interest rates are, I mean, they're super low right now. They're obviously fueling a lot of the market. Now, I think nationally, it was around March or end of March where we saw sales kind of stop because everyone,
Yes.
that's when the lockdown started everywhere. So when do you think in Calgary, when do you think the market actually started to pick back up?
I think we had the busiest July we've ever had in history of Calgary real
Yeah,
estate.
yeah,
And I don't want to be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that was what it was. Just a lot of trades happened, and
yeah,
there was a lot of quick closes too, which was nice for both sides. But I think it was just a fear of missing out. A lot of people had just
yeah,
that FOMO, a fear of missing out on a great deal or that dream home and whatnot. Especially when the mortgage rates were so low to start with. I
yes.
think a lot of people just got in it and just let's do it. And as agents, obviously, we have been going behind the scenes and putting a lot of stuff ready for that rush. And so when it came, we were all ready to handle it. We were all well established and well situated to handle it. But I want to say July it was busy. It was crazy
Yeah.
busy.
It was similar here as well. I think nationally it's the same case. July, historically, I mean, we have slow summers, after a really high spring market, we have a slow summer and then a really high fall market. So this July, there was just so much pent up demand from COVID. I mean, people stopped doing showings. We weren't, for a certain stretch, we weren't doing in-person meetings or anything like that. So all that pent up demand, yeah, it came out. I think we were right on the mark there. I think it was the highest activity.
Was.
Um,
I think it was. And I mean, looking at the numbers, around the country, in Montreal, for example, it's just crazy. And, Toronto, of course, Vancouver was just nuts. And so for Calgary to be involved in that,
yeah,
we're usually on the lower side of
right,
transactions. But to
right.
experience that and be a part of the few trades was great. It was great.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Now, just for perspective, I mean, a lot of my audience is based here in the GTA. What is the average price point in Calgary? But just estimate.
Estimate exactly as of the last market report, we're sitting at 485 for a detached property.
For
So
detached.
you
Oh
put that
my
into
God.
you put that into numbers that you have in Toronto and Vancouver, and it's just
Yeah,
it's ridiculous, right? But 485 is our benchmark price in
that's
Calgary.
fantastic. I think within the city of Toronto, we're well over 1.1 million for detached, well over. And then for the average for the entire Greater Toronto area, we're just under the million mark for that. So
Totally
it's
different markets.
totally different, totally different.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, but the trend I think has been similar nationally, just because
yeah.
pandemic was, I mean, obviously it was an international pandemic, and I think Canada and Canadian real estate and the Canadian economy has dealt with it in hopefully a manner that's going to propel us, forward
Forward.
in the future.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, if the rates stay where they stay and
Mhm.
employment rates come back up
Yeah,
to where it was pre-COVID, at least, I think
right.
we'll see that that V curve that people talked about
Yeah,
before the pandemic.
yeah,
I mean, the rates are one thing, but if you are unemployed, you can take advantage of those rates.
yeah.
So the employment rates have to at least climb back up for us to see that steady climb, right?
Yes. The other thing that's happened also is people that were on the fence, either on the fence due to financial reasons or just any sort of reason. What's happened with the mortgage rates decreasing, their purchasing power has significantly
As
increased.
increased. That's true. That's
The
true.
families and stuff that couldn't picture themselves in like a one-bedroom condo can now afford that two-bed condo, or bigger living space.
Or bigger. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. No, that's true. I think it's the same here where if you were sitting at, the 325, 330 was what you could purchase. And now you're looking at maybe $400,000. Makes a difference in what square footage you can afford, what neighborhood you can afford, and what amenities you can afford. So it's been a welcome sight for a lot of families, I imagine.
For sure, for sure. So Chucks, now I did, when we crossed paths, I guess that was on LinkedIn. What really stood out to me about your profile was your background, your professional background in pro sports. So you were a running back for the Montreal Alouettes.
Yes, it was.
You're going to have to tell me what a running back is.
So running back is what it is, a running back. I stand 7, 8 yards behind the quarterback.
Okay.
And the job of running back is to run the ball, and in some cases catch the ball. But in the Canadian Football League, you're signed up there to protect the quarterback first and foremost, as you're the extra blocker for the most part, and you're an outlet when he jumps pass off, or sometimes you get to run the ball. But it was a great time in my career. It was a short-lived career, but it was something that I always wanted as a kid growing up, was to play pro sports. And
Yeah.
I come from an academic family,
Yeah.
so I was the black sheep per se. Where I do have my my college degree, but I really wanted to play pro football.
Awesome.
And it was a lot of work to get there. It was a lot of whatever you hear people say, it was hard and difficult. It is.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible
Yeah.
to crack it in the big leagues. But it was a good time. It was a great time.
Awesome. Now, did you also play then football at the university level or college level?
Did, yes. I was fortunate to go to Wilfrid Laurier University.
Yes.
I was a proud Golden Hawk, and I had a great time over there. Made some great memories. Great teammates, great staff over there, and was fortunate to go from there to the CFL, and all the way from Calgary to Ontario to Montreal. So I have a few stories and a few good friends along the way too.
Absolutely. That's amazing. What did you study at Wilfrid Laurier?
My major was communication and media studies.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. You were playing football. Was that the reason you were in?
You know what? My dad's a lawyer. My two siblings are lawyers. My parents own a law firm here in the city. My brother's business degree.
Mhm.
I wanted to play football, so I thought I'd probably go the law route eventually. So I was looking into political science,
Mhm.
but after the first semester, it was a little bit daunting for me to do that and balance football. So I made that switch to communication and media studies. And no disrespect, but it was an easier course load.
Fair enough. I think,
Yeah.
well, minus the pro sports portion, I think we did reverse because I actually went to York University first for
Okay.
and then similar to you, after the first semester, I had a political science course and I switched so that I
Okay.
could do
Yeah.
science. So
There you go. Oh, nice. Nice. There you go.
whatever works. And then we both ended up in real estate somehow, completely unrelated.
Completely unrelated. Yeah. My story for real estate is I've always been infatuated with architecture,
Yeah.
just design, interior design, exterior design. And one of my dad's main practice at his law firm is real estate.
Mhm.
So growing up, I was a part of just paperwork and helping out at the office, and I was just intrigued with the dynamic of the real estate agent. But whenever I watch it on TV, I was like, I don't want to do that.
Mhm.
It's just guys were cutthroat and yeah, it's just slimy, and there's a few
Yeah.
things. It's just like I don't want to do that. But as I got older, and you start looking at wealth and how to build wealth,
Mhm.
and the notion of financial freedom,
Yes.
and the notion of service. And I was really struck when I was up in Montreal for the short time I was there to interact with a few agents who were Sotheby's, who were very successful,
Yes.
and just thinking, this is definitely something that I can see myself doing whenever my football career is over with.
Right.
And I didn't plan it to be over that quickly, but when it was that quickly, it was done. I said, you know what, this might be something for me to do. You're in a position of service, first and foremost, to your clients. And going from there and understanding at the back end, there's a great reward if you do it the best way. put your best foot forward and put your clients first, that, there's definitely going to be a reward financially. A lot of, overtime, of course. It's not a get rich quick scheme, but that was something that really, that really stuck with me in handsome in real estate.
Right. So how many years have you now been in the real estate industry?
I've been in the business for 2 years and 4 months.
2 years and 4 months, going strong.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Going strong. I mean, I guess somebody told me that if you do well in the down market, that you do well when the market picks back up. And so I couldn't tell you what the difference is in the down market and the up market. I only know what I know in this 2 years, and it has been what it is. But I'm going to say I've been fairly successful. Obviously, that attributes to a lot of hard work. But being a part of Sotheby's International Realty has given me a leg up against a lot of other people that I'm competing with in the industry.
Right.
And just having some connections that are very vital as well. It's been good.
Right. In the first 2 years of your business, going from, especially in the GTA, I mean, we have I think in Ontario, we have almost now 60,000 realtors, licensed agents, right? And so a lot of them are doing them as second careers, consecutive careers, part-time careers. So they come with a background, a network, a professional network, personal network, and all of that. Now, similarly to myself, I mean, I got my license right in university and built, from there. For yourself too, I mean, you were playing pro football, and that too in another city, in another province, right? So how did you start building your business? Let's say the first 6 months, the first year that you got into it.
So what I did was, obviously, being a part of Sotheby's, was reach out to agents who were successful and just pick their brains. And the second thing I did, which I thought was the most important thing, was I spent the first 8 months at my dad's office. Like, he had a vacant office by not far from the mailroom, and that's where I sat with my computer. And I would introduce myself to any client that walked in there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say my first year, 80% of my deals came directly from there.
Wow.
Right. And so it was just really, it was uncomfortable because people come in there thinking you're a lawyer, and I'm handing them a business card. I'm a real estate agent. And they put the same last name, and they're thinking, is this your son or your brother? And so that was a funny dynamic, but that's exactly what I did. There was no magic. There was no mailers. There was no cold calling. None of the stuff that a lot of people say to go through. I was just there. 9 to 5 sometimes. And sometimes I ran errands for the firm as well. But for the most part, I was there introducing myself to anybody who walked through that door and just creating those relationships. And so 80% of my deals came directly from my dad's firm, my first 8 months.
That's awesome. Yeah, just getting out there, introducing yourself. All right. A lot of agents, like if we look at it from the realtor lens, a lot of them are nervous, or they feel, what you talked about, a little bit salesy, but it is about basically getting your name out there, getting your, hey, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is how I can help you.
Yes, right? Exactly. I think it was, for me, I'm a personal, I'm very personal, but at the same time, I'm also very reserved and private. So, I mean, I don't put a lot of stuff on social media. I didn't before when I played football. I just didn't think it was necessary for me to show you what I was doing at the time. But coming into business, the first thing I learned was, hey, you got to put yourself out there. And so it was really unsettling for me to begin with, posting stuff and, posting stuff on LinkedIn. I just got a LinkedIn account when I got to real estate. I was never that social of a person, but something that I'm learning to get comfortable with it, because you want to put yourself out there as a trusted advisor more before anything else. And you got to build trust, and then you have to build clientele from there. And then when those clientele come, they expect certain things from you. You have to be able to deliver for them, and then it kind of goes from there. But you got to start somewhere.
Right, absolutely. And now, in terms of like being a good realtor, or doing a good job for your clients, I know you touched on a couple of themes. One of them being good service, building trust. Obviously, knowledge is also included, right? We have to know our product, we have to know the market, so we can advise our clients. In addition to that, what are some other characteristics that you think have been instrumental in your growth so far in real estate?
I think it's just been perseverance.
Yeah.
That's something that we don't necessarily, it's not in the book when you go to take your license. It's just perseverance.
Oh, yes.
It's tough. right? And I mean, you watch the shows, $1 Million Listed, and you know, you see some of the gaudy numbers, and you think, you know, I can get to that in year one, and then that's not like that. It's tough. And I think the second of it is just understanding that it's a long game. That's the part of perseverance. And you're not looking to get rich in your first 2-3 years. You know, that's not the mindset. And if you have that mindset, you're going to fail out of frustration. And hence the numbers of people who get their licenses as opposed to the numbers of people who are there 5 years later. It's a huge difference. Because it's a tough industry to break into, especially in a city like Calgary, where there's a lot of veteran agents who are very successful, and the market share is very limited. So to break into that, something has to be different about you.
Right.
So I chose to be service before anything else, being personable and being a guy and being an advisor who will go above and beyond for my clients. So the first thing I did when I got in, apart from being in my dad's office, was to reach out to financial advisors, reach out to private bankers, reach out to wealth managers, reach out to other lawyers, medical professionals, and just spread yourself that way because you want to be their go-to person. I look at it as I want to be an arm as part of your advisors, just like you have your private banker. I want to be your private advisor for real estate, right? So you don't have to stress about it through the process. We have everything taken care of. And I mean, it goes to part of what we do at Sotheby's as well, which has been helpful for me, is having all those places and those people in the places. So when you need them, they're there for you. And your clients trust that, oh, he got this taken care of for us. And you know, thinking ahead of what the client will need before they think of it. It's also part of that service that I look forward to, and you know, it's something I provide. And I think it's a lost art where people count the check before the deal comes through, and I think that's a bad way to do business, right? Because then if it becomes about you in a transaction, then you've definitely lost it. It should never be about you.
And
other agents on the other side, exactly.
Franken says that, and at the end of the day, we're doing a human-to-human connection. I mean, that's what business is, right? The relationship comes first, and then when they trust you enough, then the business comes, and then business will come. Like
it will,
you
of
know,
course.
it will come. But that relationship is absolutely paramount up front.
Yes, no, definitely. Relationship first, trust. And I would say I'm not an agent. I'm an advisor. You know, I think an agent is looking to just get a deal done and move on to the next deal. I'm an advisor. I'm going to be there beyond after the purchase or beyond the sale and whatever else you need in the city. And as part of Sotheby's, whatever else you need anywhere else in the world. You know, I'm able to provide for, you know, if I don't have it, I know somebody who does. You know, that's something I think my clients really appreciate.
Absolutely. Yeah. To be able to leverage your network to the benefit of, you know, everyone else in your network, to be able to interconnect people that need each other, whether it's products, business, services, whatever it may be. That network is really what we are facilitating.
It is. That is, at the end of the day, I mean, your network is your net worth.
Absolutely.
And I think when you deal with certain clientele, they expect you to have those things ready. And if you're struggling, it shows you're not ready for the big leagues just yet. You know, so that's what I did, was to kind of lay that groundwork and have all those people that I needed to provide service the same way I want to provide them. So when the clients call upon you for that, you're just ready to deliver.
Because they look to us to be able to guide them on this, right? Like a lot of, I work with a lot of first-time home buyers, a lot of investors as well. So it's a different profile, but they're all looking to rely on a professional, and it's our job to be that professional, which includes, you know, having that network set up, being able to point them in the direction of the correct financial advice, the correct accounting advice, legal advice, etc.
No, that's true. That's definitely the truth, and I think that's something you don't learn in the book before you get your license.
There are many things that are not in the books that we had to learn coming into the industry.
Exactly. It's stuff that if you had good mentors or you landed a good brokerage that you definitely have access to, and that's something I'll be very fortunate to have.
That's amazing. That's fantastic. Now, in terms of coming from pro sports to pro real estate, can you talk to me a little bit about what you learned or the things that you were doing as a professional athlete that have been beneficial to you as a business person building your business?
Yeah, I think it comes down to work ethic And I was a guy who, when I played football, I was up at 5:30 every morning to go train.
Yeah.
And I just felt that was a better time to train. The gyms were empty.
Yeah.
It's peaceful, it was quiet. You get to really hone in on your stuff. And it really is the hardest thing to do before my day is working out in the morning.
Yeah.
And I still do that. I got the clock in my head and I get up and I go. And you want to tackle stuff, the hardest stuff early in the day.
Yes.
Calendar is very important for me. I have everything on the calendar, everything. I mean, to get a haircut, I need to get a haircut, by the way, but I have that on the calendar as well. I have to get the structure just so you're not wasting any moments in the day.
Right.
Really, I think it goes back to I said earlier, but perseverance and understanding that it's going to be hard. It's going to take some time to get to where you want to get to, but just keep going at it. And there's been a lot of books that I've read that are helpful, but also, like I said, not being afraid to reach out to agents.
Right.
I mean, agents in your office that are successful, and not to get the magic sauce from them, but just pick their brains and how, what the struggles you're going through, they already went through it.
Right.
And pick their brain and how they overcame those struggles.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
And learn, and just constantly learning. I mean, I've spent so much time in the COVID on YouTube and just watching a lot of stuff and how people are doing stuff and taking what you take from it and make it your own. Right. There's different ways to skin a cat, but in the real estate, the wheel doesn't need to be reinvented. It's already there. There's a path to success. You just got to find it from the right people and take every advantage of it.
Yeah, and you also have to see what works for you. I mean, there's veteran agents out there that have built their entire careers on door knocking,
Yes.
and then agents in the last 5-7 years that have built their entire multi-million-dollar businesses on social media, right? So I think a lot of it is about balance. It's not just with real estate. I mean, with any sort of business, there's a restaurant, and then there's another one that opens down the street that's also offering the same, but they have their own, their own niche, their own clientele, their own, and I think we have to be able to find that. And it also stems from who we are as people and what we're able to offer to our niche, clientele.
That's true. No, I think that's the thing about this business. There's a client for everybody, and everybody cannot be your client, and you're not the right agent or advisor for every client. So really understanding who you are first, what you bring to the table.
Yeah.
And you usually will gravitate towards people who think the same way you think, for the most part. If you're an honest person and you put yourself out there as a truly honest person, good things gravitate to good things. Yeah. And that's really how I see it. If it doesn't come, then it really wasn't meant for you.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing the right things, you're putting the right things in place.
Yeah.
If it's meant for you, it's definitely going to come.
Right. And I think especially the industry that we are in, I, like yourself, I don't like to call it, sales. We're really in the position of, sorry?
We're in the people business.
We are in the people business, absolutely. And there's a lot of high stakes, right? We're not just selling, respect to all salespeople, but we're not selling like a consumer good or a smaller product, right? We're selling either a lifestyle or a decision. It's emotional, it's psychological, right? There's a lot of things that are going on. At the end of the day, we have to remember that it's not about the sale. It's about the client and the relationship that we're building in that transaction.
Sure. Yeah, that's true. And I think the people who have that mindset, like you mentioned, of the relationship-based mindset, are those who have that continued success.
Yes.
If you become transactional, you might have, some good months or some good years, but it's not sustainable over time. Really, it comes down to relationship. Relationship will last longer than those transactions.
Oh, absolutely.
And those relationships will yield more transactions.
Yes. Whenever you're doing anything, if you're looking at the ethics of business, right? It's like, okay, you're going to close this deal and get this check, so you can go on that vacation next month, but can you sleep 6 months from now, right?
That's true.
The decisions that you make on the behalf of your clients, the advice that you give to your clients, you have to be able to morally and ethically stand by that. And that's the only way to be in this business long term.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
That's right? It's high stakes.
It is. And, word of mouth travels fast for good news and bad news.
Yes, both.
Right. So if you
bad news is faster.
Bad news is faster. It travels faster. So you see some agents have that flair, good months, and then you never hear from them.
Yeah.
And you look down the line, there's bad deals that were done here and there, and those clients are, speaking up, and you lose your. For me, everything is about credibility.
I
And
agree.
if your credibility becomes under question for good reason,
Mhm.
then chances are you're going to lose that book of business that you build.
Yeah.
But if everybody to a man can speak on how good of a person you are and how good of stuff you've done, it's going to travel, and it's going to take time, but
Oh, yeah.
eventually that stuff is going to come.
Yeah.
So it's going to come
Yeah.
together.
Like a reputation, it takes years to build, moments to shatter, right?
It's
So
true. It's true.
uh,
That's
if
true.
we look at it from that lens, there's a lot at stake, and always doing the right things by our client is paramount. And I know that you value that for sure.
Certainly. Certainly.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Absolutely. So now looking ahead to hopefully a post-COVID world, hopefully we'll be in one soon. What's next for you and your business?
You know what? Just continue to grow, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, the minute you stop growing, then you're probably 6 feet under, right? I think just continuous growth, and I guess spreading the business to a point where you're not necessarily thinking of where the next deal is going to come from,
Mhm.
but more so how to serve that next client.
Yes.
Right? It's the two ways, right? If you're thinking about that deal, then sometimes you get nervous and you get skeptical, and chances are you're going to do stuff unethical to get that next business. But if
Right.
there's a pipeline and stuff is constantly coming in, and your thought process is, how do I better serve those clients that are coming in?
Yeah.
That's where I want to get to. I want to get to from a place of scarcity to a place of abundance.
That
And
is
then in a place of abundance, you're able to settle down and really look at the best interests of your clients. And it's not about you. It's not about your paycheck. It's not about what the numbers are looking like for you at the end of the year, but it's about those clients. Because, like you mentioned earlier, this will be for a lot of clients their biggest purchases,
yeah.
biggest investments, biggest transactions in their lifetime.
Yeah.
And it might be the only time they make this transaction.
Yeah.
So to be that person who is readily available to offer them service
Yes.
and put yourself away from the situation, take your ego out of it, and really is about the clients. That's what I'm looking forward to doing. And of course, you do that enough, the finances take care of themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Focus on being the best, advisor, being the best of whatever it is that you're doing. My mom used to always say that. She, when I was younger, she would say that to myself and my brother, that you grow up, you be whatever you want to be, but be the best one
That's
possible.
true. That's true. That's great advice. That's
Yeah.
great advice.
That's the best we can do. The best that we can do
Yeah,
is what we can offer. Absolutely.
that's true.
Well, that was a very good conversation. A lot of values, a lot of important things that we don't often talk about in real estate. So I definitely appreciate you taking the time to chat with me and
Appreciate you setting it up. Thank you
absolutely.
for setting it up. Yeah.
Problem. If any of our viewers have any questions about the Calgary real estate market, I will put Chuck's social media links down below now that he is on social media.
Yes. Finally. Yes.
Link those below. And thank you very much, Chucks, for taking the time to come on.
Thank you for setting up. Have a great day. Have a great week. And hopefully the weekend is as nice as mine. Some good
Yeah,
weather. Right.
absolutely.
All
Thanks.
right.
All right. Take care.
Here. Bye-bye.